Did you know that male circumcision is just as bad as female circumcision? Many people in the United States and Western countries are horrified by the idea of female circumcision. But very oddly, they're perfectly okay with male circumcision. They're both equally wrong. People have this false idea that female circumcision is way worse. And they give all these excuses as to how it removes the woman's sexual pleasure and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? Male circumcision does the same thing. And did you know that more tissue is removed in male circumcision than in female circumcision? Now, there are different levels of female circumcision, the most severe being very uncommon, luckily. However, there is also the vast majority of them either include just a nick or removing the clitoral hood, which is the female foreskin. And that foreskin, that tissue is smaller than what is removed from a man. So if you want to look at it just from quantity, you're taking away more from the man than from the female, the woman. Male and female circumcision are both equally wrong. The other thing is that people that support female circumcision, countries where that's more acceptable, use the exact same arguments that many people here use to try to justify male circumcision. They say it's cleaner, it's healthier. They say that, they want her to be able to find a future husband, that men will like it better, so on and so forth. All of these different things, or they'll say, I'm so glad, they'll have women who are saying, I'm so glad my parents had me circumcised. I wouldn't want to grow up without being circumcised. All these things, the very same arguments. If you take out the pronouns and just use the same sentences, you would think people were talking about male circumcision here in the United States and other, the places where it's common, and the arguments that people try to use to justify it. So it's very interesting when you read the way people who try to justify female circumcision, the arguments, what they say, how they say it, it's exactly the same. You cannot be against female circumcision and consider it a horrible abuse if you are okay with male circumcision. It's impossible. You are in some sort of denial or ignoring the facts if you try to think one is okay but the other one is a horrible abuse. Both are a horrible abuse. Both need to end. So people that are trying to say, the people that are trying to make equivalent between the two are so crazy and ridiculous and they're not the same at all. No, they're exactly the same. They're both wrong. They both take away something from a child who had no say in the matter. And they're both, people try to support them by ridiculous arguments that have no basis in fact whatsoever. So once again, if you think female circumcision is a horrible abuse, you cannot in any way, shape, or form be okay with male circumcision. Both are horrible. Both take away sexual pleasure. Both take away a part of the body that is meant to be there. They are both equally wrong. They're both equally a problem. Now, one of the things that people seem to think, though, it's like they're in this country, in the United States, people are familiar with and used to male circumcision. And so somehow that makes it less horrifying in their minds. They think, those third world countries that do female circumcision, it's so horrible. But you know what? Countries that don't do male circumcision think the same way, about us for allowing male circumcision. They're like, wow, that's so horrible. That's so primitive. Why would people do that? And you know what? They're right. How do we allow this to happen? This needs to end. Both circumcision of males and females is wrong. There is absolutely no excuse for it. People coming from other cultures they're just like, why? Why would you do such a thing? And being familiar with it, being the way that it's always been done, even though that's not true either. It's only been popular for the last 100 years or so, especially in the United States, 150 years. Before that, unheard of outside of Muslim or Jewish countries. All of Europe, the United States, no place else would have thought of this. Why do we even think this is something to do? It's so horrifying. And the fact that people have been so brainwashed into thinking this is normal is what we need to really work hard to change this way of thinking. We need to get them to realize you can't be like horrified at female circumcision and be okay with male circumcision. They're both horrifying. When you think about it, you take a baby and you want to cut off part of his penis. How is that normal? How is that okay?